Hi, blue and yellow groups. This is the first lecture in our very long lesson, chapter 22, lesson 2, our two-party system. This is the A part. We've got 4 parts so far on the background of political parties. Just as a reminder, I will be posting the slides as is because there's all kinds of great YouTube videos in here to help you deepen your understanding and to help you review. So let's get started. All right, so you should remember, throwing it way back, that even at the birth of our nation, Americans were dividing into groups, Federalists and Anti-Federalists. The main reason why these two groups developed was because we were debating whether or not to ratify the Constitution. You should remember that the Federalists supported the Constitution and the Anti-Federalists did not support the Constitution. Our Federalist group was led by Alexander Hamilton. Here's his picture. This group will decline by power in the 1800s. I'm going to see who replaces the Federalist Party. But the Federalists, they again originally referred to the supporters of the Constitution. The key idea about the Federalist Party is that they wanted strong central government. They liked the idea of a strong national government. They thought that only a strong national government would have the power to promote business, right? To help make money for the economy. These are just some other facts. The other key idea is that their support came mostly from the wealthy, from urban areas, from business owners, and most of their support was located in New England and along the coast. Our opposing side are Anti-Federalists. These guys will grow into a party called the Democratic Republicans. They're led by Thomas Jefferson. So our Anti-Federalists, once the Constitution is ratified, become what we call the Democratic Republicans. They are not really so business-oriented. They're more interested in farmers. The key idea of the Democratic Republicans is that they argue for states' rights and a smaller national government. So where the Federalists support that strong central government, the Democratic Republicans are opposite. Their support, opposite from our business leaders, our manufacturers, our bankers, our merchants, their support is more found with farmers, as well as workers, craftsmen, and if we look geographically, their support is strongest in the South and the West. We're going to move into what's called the second party system. So when we talk about party systems, we're talking about, an era in American history where we have set political parties. Our first party system was our Federalists and our Democratic Republicans. This will change in 1828. The second party system emerged from a split within the Democratic Republican Party. The two main factions or groups were led by Andrew Jackson, hero of the War of 1812 and the Indian Wars, and Henry Clay, one of my favorites. I love Henry Clay. He was the Speaker of the House. Jackson's followers formed the Democratic Party and Clay's formed the Whig Party. Although the parties were fairly evenly divided in Congress, the Whigs elected only 2 presidents, both of whom died in office. So let's look at both sides. The Democratic Party, they're organized around Andrew Jackson in the 1820s. During Jackson's presidency, they supported a strong president. It's really going to be Andrew Jackson's stranglehold he has on the presidency that is what creates the Whig Party. The Democrats believed in small government and states' rights. So this is very much just an extension of that Democratic Republican Party. They oppose the banks, right? They're very suspicious of banks, big banks. They push for westward expansion, and their support very still in line with that old Democratic Republican ideal. Democrats are going to get their supports from farmers, people living in rural areas. Then we have the Whig Party. This video here is a really good explanation of the Whig Party to go beyond what I'm going to tell you now. Basically, the Whig Party's main idea is that they hate Andrew Jackson. Not very positive, but that's where it comes from. The Whigs and the Democrats are going to remain rivals until the early 1850s. The Whigs were what we call a big tent party. meaning basically they had a huge population of support. Tons of people supported them, but they all had different ideas. The one thing they agreed on, though, is that they hated Andrew Jackson. So the Whigs, led by Henry Clay, they believe that Congress should be stronger than the president. Andrew Jackson, they called him King Andrew. People really either hated or loved Andrew Jackson. The term jackass actually comes from Andrew Jackson because they said Jackson was an ass. They took the Whigs really separated themselves from that Democratic Republican Party and then joined up with the remnants of the Federalist Party. So they wanted to promote industry. They supported importation of manufactured goods. They're much more focused on money and the economy. Their support, really similar to that old Federalist base, is from the cities, market towns. These are more of our coastal communities, and most of them are wealthy. Where are we going to go from here? Well, the Republicans are what are going to replace the Whig Party. Now I'm a Republican. So Republicans are going to form because they are people who oppose slavery. So the Whig Party is going to cease to exist. And this is where we get our current two-party system of Democrats and Republicans. We're going to come back to those two later, I promise you. The new Republican Party supported business interests, and at first they were a party of mostly Northerners. But Abraham Lincoln will become our first Republican president in 1860. And we all remember how that went with the creation of the Civil War. So that's the end of 22.A. Get ready for the next segment, 22.B, the role of third parties.